Well, and I wonder if, that's one of the few that every quarter. Right, yeah.
Oh, I can go to work.
I would say. Or- and they go- That would be good.
That's the term that I need.
Huh?
Hang on. Would you please rise for pledge of allegiance? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Ridenhour,
Here.
Osborne,
Here.
Latari. Here. Jones. Here. Euler.
Here. Approval of city council minutes, motion to approve city council work session minutes dated April 27th, 2026. And regular city council meeting minutes dated April 27th, 2026.
So moved.
Ridenhour,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Thank you.
Adoption of agenda.
I so move to approve.
Ridenhour,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes. Got to it really quick. Vic. So here we are, proclamations. We have a couple of proclamations, but we have one right now, proclamation for ALS Awareness Month, May 2026. Tony, you can come up. Thanks. Thank you for coming here. You guys are amazing what you're doing nationally and locally, so really appreciate it. ALS Awareness Month, May 2026. Whereas amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, known by many as Lou Gehrig's disease, is a progressive fatal neurodegenerative disease that attacks nerve cells in the brain and spinal cord, making even the simplest movements of walking, speaking, and gesturing difficult. And whereas approximately 5,600 people are diagnosed with ALS each year, with a new diagnosis every 90 minutes. Whereas ALS strikes people regardless of race, ethnicity, social status, there's currently no known cause, means of prevention, or cure, making diagnosis difficult. Patients diagnosed with ALS survive only 2 to 5 years and a few treatments to improve quality of life. And whereas people who served in the military are twice as likely to develop ALS, leading to the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs to recognize ALS as a service-connected disease. And whereas Tony Vick, a 16-year Warrensburg veteran, has battled ALS and defied the odds after being officially diagnosed on September 20th, 2017. Vick is around one of 5,000 veterans currently fighting ALS. Whereas Tony and his wife, Karen Vick, together work to raise awareness by sharing their story through social media platforms with over 500,000 followers. And they do this on the reality of living with ALS, being an ALS caregiver. The community's response to their initial video went viral, and the feedback reflected to a positive impact on the lives of ALS families everywhere. This community response led the Vicks to an opportunity for a smart design home renovation to meet the needs in 2024 through the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. And now, therefore, I, Bruce D. Euler, Mayor, along with the City Council of the City of Warrensburg, Missouri, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2026 as ALS Awareness Month, and we honor Tony and Karen Vick for giving a voice to the reality of living with ALS that provides far-reaching awareness and support for the disease worldwide. In witness whereof, I hereunto set my hand and seal this 11th day of May 2026.
Thank you very much.
Get a picture here. Okay.
Okay, for me, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I'm gonna wait till maybe there.
Thank you both for being here.
Catching you.
Thank you.
Seem to get the feeling it might be National Police Week. You come on up, please.
It's either that or we're really in trouble.
I always feel safe when you guys tell me. National Police Week, May 10th through 16th, 2026, proclamation. Whereas National Police Week is the week of May 10th through 10th through 16th, 2026. And whereas May 15th has been declared as Peace Officers Memorial Day, and by presidential order, flags are to be flown at half staff on this day. And whereas two Warrensburg police officers, City Marshal James Ryan and Officer James Basham, were killed in the line of duty by being shot by a single assailant on April 19, 1908. And whereas in 2024, 85,701 law enforcement officers were assaulted, 28,789 were injured as a result of those assaults, and 64 peace officers were feloniously killed in the line of duty in the United States. Whereas in 2025, 111 peace officers were feloniously killed in the line of duty in the United States, and whereas from 2024 and 2020 and 2024, a total of 236 peace officers have lost their lives in the line of duty due to accidental causes. And whereas according to preliminary data from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, at least 18 peace officers were feloniously killed in the line of duty in the United States during the first quarter of 2025. And whereas peace officers in Warrensburg and our surrounding community bravely serve the public, unselfishly risk life and serious bodily injury, now therefore be it resolved, I, Bruce C. Euler, Mayor of the City of Warrensburg, do hereby commend our peace officers, recognize their service to our community, and hereby proclaim the week of May 10th to the 16th, 2026 as National Police Week, and May 15th as Police Officers Memorial Day in Warrensburg, Missouri, dated this 11th day of May, 2026.
Breathe a little bit and appreciate God.
Sorry, thank you.
Awesome, thanks guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all for your goodness. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
What a big drop for him. I thought it was all it was here.
Wow, just got sent out here. Yeah. Robert, you got anything you want to come up? National Public Works Week proclamation, May 17th to the 23rd, 2026. Rooted in service, powered by community. Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities, to the public health, high quality of life, and the well-being of the people of the city of Warrensburg. And whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector. They're responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in the city of Warrensburg to gain knowledge of and to maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas in the year 2026 marks the 66th annual National Public Works Week sponsored by the American Public Works Association. Be it now resolved, I, Bruce D. Euler, Mayor of Warrensburg, Missouri, along with the City Council, do hereby designate the week of May 17th through the 23rd, 2026 as National Public Works Week. I urge all citizens to join with representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agencies in activities, events, and ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protect our national health, safety, and quality of life. Dated this 11th day of May, 2026. National Small Business Week, May 3rd to the 9th. Yay. Thanks, Melissa. National Small Business Week, May 3rd to the 9th, 2026. Whereas for generations, small businesses across America have shaped and embodied our nation's entrepreneurial spirit and driven our economy forward. And whereas small businesses are the foundation of the local economy, providing jobs, goods and services, and opportunities that support residents and contribute to a strong and diverse local marketplace. Whereas Warrensburg's small business community reflects the character and diversity of the city, including locally owned shops, restaurants, service providers, manufacturers, and creative entrepreneurs whose work contributes to a vibrant and welcoming community. And whereas the city of Warrensburg, along with local organizations, are committed to supporting small businesses through access to information and resources, streamlined permitting and licensing processes, sharing recommendations, and celebrating the small business that make Warrensburg a great place to live and work. Now, therefore, I, Bruce D. Euler, Mayor of the City of Warrensburg, Missouri, along with Warrensburg City Council, do hereby recognize the week of May 3 through the 9th, 2026 as Small Business Week. In witness whereof, I hereunto set my hand and seal this 11th day of May, 2026. Thank you. Hey, item 6.1, presentation by Jessica Vinderlo, Management Analyst, Q2 Fiscal 26 Budget Report.
Oh.
That's tiny to read though, so I promise I'll walk you through it. Okay. Hi, good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. It's my pleasure to be before you tonight to present the Q2 report. Q2 ended on March 31st this year, so at the end of each quarter, as you all know, I put the calendar here and talk finance. So we talk about our actual for the current fiscal year compared to the prior year, and then also compare how we're doing compared to budget. My apologies. Is that me? Sorry about that. So I'll kind of briefly go through the report, primarily focusing on our operating funds and there's some other things of note, particularly when it comes to capital. So I always like to begin with our general fund. That's good to have all that. I like to begin with our general fund, so that's going to be on page 8. We catch up. So on the revenue side, our operating revenue is on track to meet or exceed budget. Sales tax has been strong thus far, so we're really happy to see that. And remember last year, we're kind of experiencing some flattening, going down a bit. So we're happy to see that that's, compared to last year, that's gone up. Right now, our main area of concern for Q2 is franchise fee revenue. So while there are a couple of sources that are up compared to last year, we're also kind of seeing some of those be down, particularly some of our larger ones. So those can be seasonal. So as we kind of enter summer and some of those things, those might go up. But we're keeping a close eye on it because with only a 1% change from the last fiscal year, that's below our current budgeted assumptions. I also kind of wanted to bring up use tax. So that's been also fairly flat from last year. So compared to sales tax, which is a little odd. So we're gonna just keep an eye on that and see how those end up coming in. Briefly call out licenses and permits as well. So our right-of-way permits were up. We had a couple of years where they were really, really high. And those have largely stabilized. So those might come in ever so slightly under on there. You'll also see, of course, the large transfer. I'll talk about some of the projects that we anticipate using fund balance for in that line when I get to the expense side of it. So again, like we're gonna keep a really close eye on sales tax and franchise fees because those are 70% of our general fund revenue and they could be quite volatile. So we'll report back on Q3 on the continuing trends that we see with those. On the expense side, so that's just on the next page, page 9. I like to point out the other services. You can see the kind of large, scary $4,000 number. As you all remember, that is the vacancy credit that we did. So historically, we've been budgeting for full staffing. We've not had full staffing until we've been contributing to fund balance at the end of the year. So this year we did a fund-wide vacancy credit for the general fund. So essentially what that does is we just find the cost of a set number of positions. I believe we did 6, and we just subtract that from the total expenses that we expect to do. So it's a contra expense. And so that's why that line looks to be pretty far over budget. It's completely normal. It's what we intended to do this year. Savings in our maintenance category and commodities as well, primarily due to us shifting our general fund expenses over to the CIP half-cent sales tax fund. And as I promised, I was going to go over some of those kind of one-time large capital projects we have. One of those is, of course, Lions Lake, which we did an amendment for the last quarter that I brought this to you. Some of the other ones that we're anticipating use some of our reserves on this year. We budgeted $500,000 for City Hall security upgrades, about $400,000 for a Bearcat. As you remember, that came in a little bit higher. I have the encumbered funds in here just because I like to show that transparency wise. We also had $90,000 for a wayfinding sign, about $240,000-ish for some concrete work, ramp curbs over at our fire stations, $50,000 for a housing study, and then $100,000 to start up the VERF, which is the Vehicle and Equipment Reserve Replacement Fund, which is how we're paying for all the enterprise vehicles and that replacement program there. So I won't call out any of our departments here, but as you can see, there's a bunch of green. So they're all wonderful. We have the best department heads in the world. They do wonderful at managing their budgets and their expenses throughout the year. So fantastic work on their part. I'll skip through all the detail as well. If you have any questions about that, happy to return to that, but just kind of keeping this as an overview. So water pollution control is next. So that's our sewer fund. Revenue, charges for service. So service and merch, primary operating revenue there. Coming in right on target with the rate increase we did last fall. So 3% over where we were quarter 2 last year. You'll also see about 1.5 million in miscellaneous. So that's where we're booking those revenue bond proceeds from the state revolving fund. So as we experience expenses for that project, we're getting reimbursed from the state. And so far we've gotten about 1.5 million as of Q2, and those will continue to roll in as we work on that project. On the expenses, which is on page 18, we are anticipating a need to pull from fund balance to cover the total of, again, some one-time projects. That's kind of a recurring theme you'll see across this budget, is that we found an opportunity to use some of those reserve funds for really impactful projects. And since we carry some high balances in some of our funds, so we're really going to make a difference there. So for the purposes of the report, I'm assuming that we're just going to cash finance both the lift station and the solar project. That's not what we're going to do. We kind of discussed we're going to do lease financing. But just for the simplicity of this report, just include both those expenses, assuming full on cash financing there. And then they have some savings from staff vacancies, and then largely all the other expenses in that fund are on track. So now I'm going to move on to parks. So page 19 to talk about their revenue. So most of their tax revenue is on target to meet or exceed budget. Admin staff, so finance, we're still going to conservatively estimate some of those new fees, and the revenue is going to come in from those. They've definitely impacted revenue, so their memberships are about 17% higher than they were, or the revenue 17% higher than it was last year at the same time. But right now it's just unclear whether this trend is gonna be strong enough, and we think we're gonna meet or exceed budget with that trend. So we're still kind of budgeting conservatively on that side, but we are also of course hoping for a strong pool season, and that kind of make up some of that difference too. So we've met with parks, so they've kind of gone over these revenue estimates with them. And as I'll talk about in the next section, they've already started to make some kind of proactive changes to their expenses to try to maintain a balanced operating budget there. So on the expense side, next page, page 20. So they do have already had a few expenses that kind of made them go over a bit in maintenance. So they had a water leak and then the HVAC went out as well. So some of those unexpected things that unfortunately come up from time to time. I also just want to bring up quickly again the kind of mismatch between our budget development and parks. They're a few months ahead of us, and so sometimes we don't get estimates for our insurances quite at the same time. So we're working to tighten that up, but that's also why you see that insurance line a little bit over there. They're also making some savings by deferring some of their capital projects, and they do also have a bit from staff vacancies, just because it took them a bit into the year to fill at least one or two of their full-time positions. So now I'm gonna go ahead and skip to CIP funds. So I'm gonna kind of talk about them together at first, and then I'll break out after that, after when I get to the expenses. So revenue in both of them doing good, coming in largely on target, so happy to see that. Both funds, again, the anticipated fund transfer to cover some additional projects that we wanted to undergo this year. So in Fund 210, which is our transportation CIP fund, the ADA ramp, curb, and gutter program is proceeding. And both the asphalt and sidewalk programs will begin in the coming months, so we'll have a better idea about some more of those expensive bullets. There are also significant savings from the Cedar Court project, so that offsets some of the minor overages we see in some of those other lines. On the half cent, which is Fund 215, that's just on that next page. There are a lot of projects within this fund, a lot of ambitious initiatives going on this year. As you all remember, we adopted an amendment last quarter for the cost of the solar over to PD, their nice little overhang they have now over there. There are also a variety of other projects, as I mentioned. So there's the fire engine lease payments for those 2 fire engines we purchased this year, UTVs, tools, alert and siren maintenance, building maintenance, tactical police equipment. So all of those projects are largely progressing as expected, so nothing crazy to report there. Of course, if you want a full report of the CIP, that's in the comprehensive financial model, as well as we have a truncated version in the back of the budget book. Okay, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about solid waste real quick. So here we're presenting again the revenue on a received rather than a billed basis, just to kind of better account for cash flow in this relatively new fund. So right now we're sitting at about a 3% delinquency rate rather than 10%, which is what we assume for budget, so that's fantastic. So we're happy to see that the revenue's performing favorably there. On the flip side, as I mentioned again in Q1, and it's still the trend, our contract is trending to be a bit more than we budgeted, but that's only because we have a higher house count than when we assumed the budget. So that of course varies directly with our revenue. So there's no concerns there. If we have more accounts, we get more money, but then we also have to pay more money to principal. So I'll bring forth an amendment in Q3 or towards the end of the year, if that trend continues and we need to do that. But other than that, happy to stand for any questions you might have.
I did have a few questions. So on the SIP funds, specifically the fire engines, when do lease payments start on that? When can we expect to see that in the budget?
Yeah, we've got one of the interests or working with them, but the bulk of them aren't going to start until next fiscal year. I think we have some interest to pay this year, but I believe most of it's happening next fiscal year.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Partly it's a function of when we take receipt and when we get the lease financing in place, but I think we actually are kind of behind what we budgeted, so
Yeah.
it'll represent savings this year.
On solid waste, is there a floor on how much we would spend? So if we lose a bunch of houses all at once or something that come offline, is there still a minimum amount we pay on the contract? Okay, so it'll fluctuate with the houses no matter what, or the properties we're servicing no matter what. Okay. And then also on Parks and Rec, you mentioned that we are misaligned specifically with property insurance.
RP does their budget on May, June. We don't finalize our budget till September, and we don't get our renewal estimates from the insurance company until July, August. And so there's a bit of a mismatch there historically. We're being more intentional about this year, trying to kind of tighten it up, have more conversations about, we think it's gonna be 10-15% with our insurance carriers, so we can make sure Parks gets the best information they can, even though they're a few months ahead of us.
So their fiscal year is still aligned with the city.
But since they have to go through the Parks Board first, they kind of get a head start on that, and I think believes in our code that they have to bring their budget to the Parks Board before they bring it to us.
Yeah, so they have a lot more process that's
Yes.
specified, and I would tell you, from the insurance side, it's pretty common to not know what your number is gonna be till you're right up against the renewal deadline, which can always be frustrating if you're contemplating making a change, but try to manage that, but
So that misalignment is more just budgeting process, not necessarily, okay.
yeah, so they had to budget a number before we had the hard quote from insurance, and so they budgeted less than what the insurance renewal turned out to be.
Okay, and when is insurance renewal? Is that aligned with our fiscal year also, or?
Fine. But like I said, we usually get estimates July, August, so.
Okay.
And we usually kind of budget a blanket increase so that we kind of adjust as we go on, but.
So is that misalignment something that we can rectify? You know, can we go back to Parks in August and say, here's what the insurance came out to? Can we update your budget to reflect that or something?
Yeah, I think, and I'm gonna speak for Park a little bit, but I think they're paying attention to it just as soon as the number comes out, and as Jessica said, they do a good job of just kind of monitoring all their line items, adjusting expenses accordingly. So whether they make a budget amendment, you know, immediately, or whether they're just factoring that into their plan, as soon as we know that number,
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Jessica.
I'm
sorry, I did have some, no, that's okay. I was waiting, because usually you have questions. And some of these may not be questions for you, so feel free to say that's a department person's question. I wonder, given circumstances, if we're anticipating budgeting higher for gas, diesel, fuel, especially in this coming fiscal year, if that's something that's kind of across the board, everyone's planning.
Take that into account, yes.
Yeah, because it seems like that's what's happening, what's coming regardless. In the general fund, on the revenue side, I just was curious, this is something I don't know or understand, is the fines, and there seem to be, if I'm reading this right, a pretty big increase in fines from Q2 of FY 25 to the end of year estimate. I'm just wondering what that increase in fines is, or
Like the
what
increase
it,
from,
let's see, from 136,901,
mhm,
that was the end of fiscal year 25.
correct, or that was the Q2 of fiscal year 25.
That was what?
Q2 of fiscal year 25?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. And then the end of year estimate. Okay, sorry, I realize I'm comparing apples to oranges. Never mind, apologize, we get that
It
question.
is estimating growth in that line item. but-
Gotcha, okay,
But it's
thank you.
that 35,000 numbers, the year-end difference it's estimated.
Gotcha, okay, thank you. And then the legislative budget? Yeah, now I can't find it. Where is that? What page is that? What page is it?
And
Page-
Maybe 10 or 11, depending if you're looking at the detail or the summary.
Okay, there we go. Okay, and so what, is that city council?
Yes, correct.
Okay, all right. And so I assume that's something we're gonna be talking about at some point so that we know what's in our budget. What's,
Yes,
what's,
there's some other our boards and commissions, primarily Historic Preservation Commission. They're in your budget this year as well, some other kind of miscellaneous things as well, but yeah.
okay. And I remember that, was it the housing study, I think was placed in our budget?
Let's face it, in city manager's budget.
Okay, all right, yeah.
I can provide you the detail on kind of what's in your budget,
Okay.
but certainly there's other costs.
I don't even know now, but maybe it's, when we have our retreat later in the year, with something we can just focus on. Okay, the other things I think I'll ask department folks. Thank you. I appreciate it, Jessica.
I had one more thing, sorry, because Susie brought it up. the fines, is that just like traffic violations or is that also property fines or
So the cases.
anything? Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you, Jessica.
Say it every time, but she knows it's backwards and forwards.
Yeah, it does.
Terrific job.
Item 7, second reading of ordinance, 7.1, 2026 FIFA World Cup Tournament. An ordinance exempting the city of Warrensburg, Missouri from the provisions of section 311.2026 RS Missouri regarding hours for liquor licenses to sell, serve, and allow the consumption of alcoholic beverages during the 2026 FIFA World Cup Tournament, presented by Michael D. Scraggs, City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'm gonna take the liberty of being brief, but I'll be happy to answer any additional questions you might have. But I'm sure you recall that we had a public hearing 2 meetings ago where there's an opportunity, there's a survey conducted ahead of that. There's an opportunity to address you and then you as the council to give staff direction on how you'd like to proceed. And then at your last meeting, we brought forth an ordinance and with a lot of different options. You ultimately amended that to opt out of the state's statute that extends liquor license hours of sale, essentially 23 hours a day for the entire duration of the FIFA World Cup. Not just the dates they're playing, but the date range of the FIFA World Cup. So what's in your packet is the ordinance as amended on first reading at your last meeting. Knowing that there was conversation about alternatives and trying to assist you if you wanted to pursue a different option. You'll see that the options provided in the staff report are very lengthy. Essentially, they are what would need to be said as a motion if you wanted to pursue something other than, and if you want to make an amendment to the ordinance. So if you leave the ordinance unamended, when you pass it on second reading, we are opting out of the extended hours. And if you want to do something other than that, then option 1, and there's exempting us. Option 2 would be extending the hours of sale on the dates of the FIFA match play in Kansas City. Option 3 would be extending the hours of sale on the match play dates and the Fan Fest dates. Option 4 would be extending it for the full range of dates, which if you do nothing, you got the state adoption in place for 23 hours a day. So in the instance of option number 4, you would need to specify some different time frame if that's what you wanted to do. So recapping, we surveyed the liquor license holders. We worked with the Star Journal and ran a front page article about it, conducted a public hearing, and called up at last city council meeting. The ordinance before you is the action that you took on first reading at your last meeting. So if you pass that, you're opting out of extended hours entirely. And then the various scenarios of options are there for you in the staff report. Be happy to try to answer any questions you might have.
Did have a question on your fiscal impact. You mentioned $3,500 a week for 2 additional officers. And I guess my first question in that is, do we send officers home already at 1:30 when the bars close? Or what are those additional officers that we would be seeing?
So our schedules are 12-hour shifts. If we're extending these hours, we'll have to look at extra staffing, signing up from basically 10 till whenever the bars close at night. We used to run 4 to 6 people downtown for bar closing at all times. We don't have to do that anymore in today's world. Everything's pretty well been calmed down there. So we would be looking at planning if all the bars are open for all the hours, then I would look at, all right, if there's 2 bars open, I need 2 officers for that bar. If there's 4 or however many in the downtown area that's going to be open, I would have 2 assigned per bar being open at that time frame.
So do you already
We would be doing overtime for that.
intend to have officers down there, just be additional officers
Additional
after 1:30?
around 10 o'clock on, depending on what's going on.
whether they're open regular hours or whether they're open extended hours, you're gonna have those officers.
They do spot checks now. They're not down on foot that whole time now. But during that, if we're having issues, then I would, yes. If we're having issues, so try to plan for the what ifs.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And your costs $3,500 a week for the 2 officers. And that's fully burdened with taxes and retirement, all that.
Is time and a half at the $21 an hour, we put it at around that $30. That's on the low end of our officers. We could say our middle end of officers sign up for, they could be at $24, $25 an hour. So that would go up even more on the overtime side. So
Thank you.
try to do it on the low side of it. So,
Yeah, I appreciate it.
thanks.
And if we opt out and keep normal liquor license hours, liquor serving hours, there wouldn't be need for additional, the students are gone.
If we're not seeing issues, then no.
But if there are issues, then of course.
Then we'd have to do some sign up and sign overtime.
So can we assume that if we opt out and we just have the 6 a.m. to 1:30, 1:30, that with the students being gone and then FIFA people here celebrating maybe before they go to Kansas City, and then maybe celebrating for a couple hours when they come back, that there shouldn't be really a great need because I'm assuming they're adults and they'll act like adults. And you know what happens when you assume.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I'm not assuming, I'm not just
Yeah,
watching
yeah.
and kind of seeing what's going
Yeah.
on. If it seems like we're gonna have issues, then we'll staff up more for it. But
Okay.
right now, we haven't been having issues down there, so, like I said, back 10 years ago, we ran 4 to 6 officers just during bar closing, but when we were having issues, we bring people in at 10, and you'd work overtime from 10 till 2:30, 3 in the morning, until bars got closed down, and then people would be in the streets, waiting to go home, playing their
Right.
music loud, so we'd usually be down there 2:30 and 3:30.
Okay, and if they need additional drinks, they could just start earlier in the day. And the games don't start till 8 at night. They run 90 minutes. They have
Yeah, some start earlier
Some-
and some start, some start as early as 6, I think. and
Okay.
Start late night till 9.
So like some partying in Kansas City, hopefully not too much before they drive back to Warrensburg. Okay, thank you. It's a lot of unknowns.
There's so many different variables unknowns. I
Yeah.
mean, given 3,500, it sounds high, right? I mean, that's just the unknown of it, so, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What do you need for us to proceed?
I'll just make one comment. I think it's pretty telling when the mayor of Kansas City is looking to opt out. Making that decision, so just something else to throw out here as we make our decision. Any other?
Open for discussion.
Absolutely.
So I just wanted to say again, I know my stance is clear on it, but I just wanted to mention kind of, again, where I stand on it. I do think that we need to be business friendly, and leaving it up to the businesses is important. We're not saying that you need to stay open. We're not saying that you need to stay closed. It is a once in a lifetime opportunity that these businesses have, and they just don't know what they're going to do just yet. Reality is, we reached out to them 3 months ahead of time. I'm continuing to talk to these business owners along with the general public, and the general consensus is that I'm hearing from these business owners, why put extra rules on us at the moment? If we want to stay open, then we should have that ability to stay open for this once in a lifetime opportunity that they have. Now, yes, Kansas City is saying that, we aren't sure. Lee Summit has said, I believe that they're going to be extending their hours. Whether our hotels are booked or not, I think that our businesses do have an opportunity across the city, and we are dealing with a lot of different cultures here. It's not just people that live in Warrensburg, but it could be people that are traveling through, whether domestically or internationally, might want to stay in one of our Airbnbs. I know that there are several Airbnbs around town that are booked for World Cup participants. And some of them, they might not be getting home until midnight. Even with a 9 o'clock game, once you calculate in travel time and getting out of the stadium and everything else, it might be late, and they might still want to go party afterwards. So I think that it is important that these businesses have the opportunity to get the extra revenue if they can, and if they don't want to, they don't have to. They can stay closed as long as they follow the ordinance and give the proper timing and things like that. And at the end of the day, hopefully our public is good. We don't have to staff the extra officers. But also, we can always come back to the table if we need to and cancel that exemption if we need to. So, or cancel the extended hours if we need to and put an exemption in place. So.
The ordinance also, if they are going to stay open, one of the options, if they were going to allow them to stay open longer, they have to give us notice in writing. And failure to do that, they can be ticketed for that. So we would know who plans to be open any extended hours.
To clarify, Councilperson, we wouldn't have the ability to ticket them for not notifying us just for that purpose. There may be a business ticket that I could write on that, but it would not be for that specific thing alone. Also, the ordinance that you have in front of you does not have that option in it. The ordinance that you have now is the one that was amended at the last meeting, which is only an opt-out.
Yes.
It has no other options.
But if we were to Max's point, if we were to pick another one,
Sure, you could certainly resurrect.
so they could be
another option.
cited
Yeah.
for not notifying the city that they were going to be open, if we were to decide to let them be open.
At that point, I would suggest that live editing in the session is probably not our best answer
Okay,
to that.
I guess I thought that was in
I think that was in an example ordinance.
an example from,
But it has not been built into our.
I see, okay,
And I wholeheartedly agree, and much more amending beyond what you have here, probably need to regroup and bring it back to you.
okay, all right.
Yeah, because the one that's in front of us
Is
is opting out, keeping our regular hours, so
Opting
they
out,
wouldn't need to
absolutely.
let us know one or the other.
Okay, and if we want to move forward with what's in front of us, what do we need to do?
You're on your second reading you're in standard procedure at this point on a second reading ordinance, so.
Which is just taking,
You're,
Call for roll.
yeah, you're ready to call for the vote. If you're done with your discussion, you're ready for the question.
No further questions.
Any other discussion?
Okay.
Motion to move to second reading by title only? No.
We're
No.
already there.
Oh, there, already there. So that, okay,
For
sorry.
me, let me get back to where we were.
I said totally
You could
missed
say-
that.
You
See,
could
this is
say
the-
call to question.
Call to question.
This is for adoption or rejection. It's a second reading. Ridenhour,
No.
Osborne,
Yes.
Latari,
Yes.
Jones,
yes,
Euler.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Max. I appreciate you and
No,
your
abs-
point of view.
No, thank you. I appreciate you listening.
Item 8.1, an ordinance amending section 15-1 of the Code of City Ordinances for the city of Warrensburg, Missouri regarding park hours. Presented by Chris, the real deal, Parks and Recreation.
That always takes the nerves off. But first, good evening, Mayor and council members, and first I would like to thank our Assistant Parks and Recreation Director, Tony Albertina. He did quite a bit of work on this and research of other cities in comparison for the development of these ordinance changes. We reviewed these changes with staff and also presented to the park board with approval, giving us to proceed on to the city council. The main purpose of these ordinances really is consistency, which improves for our overall operations and communication with the public and all the city staff and boards. I believe across the city, it will be a very positive thing. As stated in the memo, in the first ordinance, the open and closing hours are different throughout our 9 parks. This is confusing to the public and also internal staff. So this ordinance changes 2 things. One, it makes all parks opening from 5 AM to 10 PM. And 2, it allows the Parks and Recreation Director or designee to approve any exceptions for programs or events. A good example of this would be if there is a tournament or sporting events that might run past 10 o'clock, which could be approved at that level. Staff would always, of course, follow the established policies of the park board, and this makes it so a request does not have to go back to the park board. Give you an example of a request is made on the 29th of April, and the 28th, we just had our meeting, and you have to wait another whole month. You take the chance to lose program and also revenue. And again, this is consistent with what other cities do. And Parks and Recreation Board approves, and I'll answer any questions you may have.
Just a question about how that might affect PD if they do patrols. I don't know if it's common to have to
It
go.
actually will assist the PD because a lot of times it was so inconsistent on closing. Some was sundown, some
Right.
was
Yeah.
11 o'clock. So that gives us consistency for helping lock gates or any of that type of stuff.
Makes sense. Okay, thank you.
Do you
Yeah.
get common calls or do you get a lot of calls on park hours? Just people staying after,
Staying after on park hours.
yeah,
That varies. It varies. When patrolling, if the gates aren't locked, we can go down, evening to middle of the night and find people down in there doing things they shouldn't be doing. So, if they get consistent and have the gates locked, they'll cut some of that stuff down.
That was definitely seen as the most positive thing is the ease for the police chief to be able to tell his staff it's 5 to 10.
Yeah.
And they don't have to open a book and see, when the next time is. They know it.
What time is sundown today? Yeah.
And I will just add one more thing, having Cave Hollow open till midnight has been a problem. So the 10 o'clock is gonna help. We've got an additional lighting out there, so it would be a big help for us.
A question on the additional lighting out at Cape Hollow, is it on a timer, so it'll shut it up at 10?
It is on timer, so it comes on when it's dark and goes off the dawn.
It goes off at 10, or whatever you set it to go off at,
Oh, no,
or it's a dusk to dawn,
Yeah.
dusk to dawn, okay,
Yeah.
thank you, that's all I needed.
the question I have just on hours and kind of where the limits are. If somebody's walking through like Shepherd's Park, for example, late at night, being on the sidewalk or being on the road is not breaking this ordinance, but if you were to step onto the grass, it would. Is that how I understand that? Or where's the line drawn exactly on being on park property and just being on that easement?
Yeah, that would be the way I would interpret it for court purposes is if. No different than private property in general, the sidewalk in front of a house is not the house, not the sidewalk would be the house's property, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll have signage going up at each park now with the hours.
yes, this will allow us to be consistent in
Yep.
putting all of these same hours at every single park entrance. For everyone to kind of get used to those are the hours. Mhm.
Any other questions? We have a first and second.
Motion to move to second reading by title only.
Ridenhour,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes,
Euler.
Yes.
An ordinance amending section 15-1 of the Code of City Ordinances of the City of Warrensburg, Missouri regarding park hours. This is for adoption or rejection. Ridenhour,
Yes.
Osborne.
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones.
yes,
Euler.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 8.2, an ordinance amending section 15-2 of the Code of City Ordinances of the city of Warrensburg, Missouri regarding archery, Chris Deal.
This ordinance having to do with archery would authorize Parks and Recreation Director or designee for areas to be approved archery related activities and also areas that is being performed. Really, this is no different than the current ordinance. The only change is makes it so the director or designee can provide approval following the ordinances versus having to go back to park board once again. And this is consistent with other cities, and also park board approves this direction. And I'll answer any questions you may have.
This is basically to take care of the annual deer hunt.
Oh, yes, good question. Actually, this makes it so doing the annual deer hunt is, it's ongoing. It's something that we can approve and do. Yes.
Perfect.
Since motion to move to second reading by title.
Ridenhour,
Yes.
Osborne.
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
An ordinance amending section 15-2 of the Code of City Ordinances of the city of Warrensburg, Missouri regarding archery. This is for adoption or rejection. Ridenhour,
Yes.
Osborne.
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 8.3, an ordinance amending section 15-3 of the Code of City Ordinances of the city of Warrensburg, Missouri regarding posting signs. Chris Deal.
Section 15.3 currently restricts the posting of signage within the parks to duly authorized personnel in the performance of their duty, and does not provide a mechanism for temporary signage related to events, programs, or community activities. And so this restriction does protect park infrastructure and aesthetics, but it also limits the ability to effectively communicate with park users at times. So the proposed amendment was made that the director designee make an exception if deemed necessary. And the park board reviewed this and once again approved this ordinance change.
In reading this, I understand it to allow the park department to place advertising signage for events, upcoming events, or a new class or whatever, to place it on park property, whether it's inside the right of way or not. And by only allowing the park department to have signage in the easement or inside the inside of the sidewalk, it makes it easier for whoever's enforcing signage on the other city property or anywhere in the city to keep it from becoming confusing. We have a lot of signs going up inside the easement and other places where people are advertising their business or they're advertising some other thing. We have elections coming up in a year. We're gonna have signs all over the place. By having this in force, the park department should be the only ones that would be allowed to put a sign in their right away. Anybody else would not, and it would only be on park department property. Is that what I'm understanding?
I understand where you're headed with that. I have to be honest, we need to be consistent. I'd have to know what our prior interpretations were about placement of signage and rights of way and easements and. But whatever we would authorize here, I would want to make sure we're applying consistently as it relates to election signs or primarily election signs, but.
Will
See,
we,
Your current ordinance prohibits all posting of signs.
even if they're not,
It shall be unlawful for any person to post, affix, place, or inscribe any hand-to-bill, poster card, sign, device, or inscription to or upon or against any fence, structure, tree. Doesn't say anything about right of way.
Is that just Parks and Rec?
that's for the city,
That's
right?
all, yeah. Well, it's under Parks and Recreation.
Yeah.
But
Okay, but
fence, structure, tree. So
for the city, I think we need to be really careful and consistent that we're allowing through this ordinance, the park department to put signs up pretty much wherever they want on park department property. But when it comes to other signs that are not related to the park department, any place else within the city, they have to be outside of the right of way. What we had problems 2 years ago where people were putting them in the easement. Then we got word out, everybody moved them from the easement inside the sidewalk. But we had a lot of signage and we just need to be consistent.
Agreed, and so much so that if we don't allow that in right of way elsewhere,
Yeah.
I wouldn't interpret this as giving the Parks Department
So,
additional.
okay,
authority.
so then they need to make sure their signs are inside of on the inside part of the sidewalk, or at least 7 foot from the
Yeah.
edge of the street.
I apologize, but I don't know off the top of my head what our code says. The state I used to work in specifically allowed election signs in right away because of a dispute with one particular legislator. So it was a very odd arrangement.
I think it's at least 10 feet from the street and at least 5 feet from another property.
What I would say, whatever standards we apply, any other sign, we would apply park sign.
Yeah.
All we're doing is giving the parks director the authority to
Yeah.
allow an event to put up directional signage, concessions, stand,
Right.
hang banners on outfield fences.
On
Is it
park
common?
property.
Yeah.
So I guess we
This
need,
ordinance is, the 15.3 is in the parks ordinance. Your sign regulations is in Article 9, it's section 27. It's a totally different section.
Yeah.
And the answer to what can you do is like any good legal question, it depends on the sign, it depends on the application.
Right.
There are several different categories here, so it's not signs, it's sizes. Do they have lights? Do they not have lights? Are they affixed? Are they temporary? Are they, so there's a lot of
Okay.
different regulations.
For those kind of temporary yard signs, though, I think it's
right.
pretty close to that.
So that could be a conversation at a different time where we clarify what can happen in the city.
Well,
When we,
I wouldn't recommend that we treat ourselves any differently than we. do
right,
any
so that
other.
we're consistent.
Yeah.
They're consistent with what we do, but right now we're not sure if it's 7 foot, 10 foot. 5
Well,
foot.
think it's
it's clear in the ordinance.
15.
We just,
Yeah, we just don't.
I'm looking on what you're
I'm talking about, Chris, mostly like a yard sign, right? A temporary, like, hey, this,
A lot of sides, right?
They're talking,
Yeah, right,
It's just outside the right of way.
right. Generally, the right of way is in general a no-go.
This could be an example, to answer your question, like, a city partner. That the hospital or something has something event at that particular park. And they will put up signs, like, that say something like, this pavilion is right here,
Run is-
whatever, nothing out of the street or anything, it's within the park. So that would be, an example, but I certainly am, in total agreement to doing exactly what's right within the city.
okay,
We just wanted to bring this forward to be consistent with approval from the director.
So what we have right now is we have a set of regulations for signs in the city at large. We then have, for the parks specifically, we have a rule that says thou shalt not post signs that are. Let me get this. Shall not post, affix, place, or inscribe to or upon a fence, structure, or tree. So you can't put your sign on something in a park. Under this regulation, you absolutely could have a standalone sign, right, that says 40th birthday party here. And that would be just fine because it would be temporary. If it was left, that could be an ordinance violation at that point. This would then amend 1513 specifically to allow for the Parks Department to affix signs to things, because they could put out temporary signs now. This will allow them to put up a permanent type sign or a more permanent type sign.
But whenever you say, I apologize. But the temporary sign would not be allowed here because they cannot post.
Well, that depends on what the definition of is. Posting would typically be some way that it is, that you post a bill. Posting is actually, I mean, truly a posted sign would be probably painted on the post or tacked onto a post. So it's old timey language. So posting of a sign, it would be some type of semi-permanent or permanent fixture unto something, not just placing, generally speaking.
So
Now, if it said place, I would agree with you.
So do we feel like this ordinance is actually going to do what we are trying to do here?
yeah, it's post a fixed place or inscribe any handle.
Yeah, it does say place, you're right. It has that word on the end of it.
So I think anyone that wants to put up signage in the Parks Department needs the park.
I think that's right. I missed the word place. Good catch.
So they can give another organization permission to place their sign within the park area because that organization is doing an event that's gonna happen at the community center, or it's gonna happen at the pavilion. It's gonna happen with something to do with the park. But they're not gonna be able to give permission to
Yeah.
some electrician or plumber or somebody else to put his or her sign up in the park department, because that has nothing to do with park activities.
And that the way that this is worded, the new wording of it absolutely allows for all of that to happen. Yes.
Allows for them to let the electrician or the plumber,
Parks and Recreation Director and authorized representative make grant written approval for exceptions. So it would come as a written approval to grant an exception to it.
I think it's dependent on how they apply themselves. I mean, at the point, if I understand your scenario correctly, if you're having a softball tournament and one of your sponsors is an electrical company and they want to put up a banner on the outfield fence as a sponsor, they can probably do that. If they want to permanently place an advertising sign for their business, I would hope that we all apply
Well,
ourselves in such a way that we say.
Oh,
it's not-
completely. And I think the wording here, and that was an important part of the wording. When I did my review, is it's approved events, programs, or community activities. So it's not a blanket signage, it has to be for the thing that it's for.
Okay.
So I could see like, if following the softball example, if it was a season-long, team sponsor or something like that, or somebody, a local company wanted to pay for all of the dues for the T-ball program or something like that, and asked if they could put a sign out for the season.
that would be.
That
cool.
might, I don't know, I'm not the parks director, but that might be okay. But something like that.
Yeah, and it's customary to have sponsors, posters on fences.
Yeah, not abnormal at all. Yeah.
And the subtle part of this is this authorizes park staff to remove those signs after event's over
Right.
as well.
Right.
Rather than have to
Okay,
have any extended conversation about taking it down.
right.
And most businesses, those signs are not cheap. I mean, they're not crazy expensive anymore, but they're not free, so. There's an incentive to go get your sign.
Well, sorry to keep on,
No, good question.
Keep on.
but also, so John Doe wants to have his 50th birthday, says birthday this way, sign. Is that gonna have to be separate from his application for the event? He's gonna have to submit also another thing that says, I want to place a sign. He would not be allowed to just place a sign there, same birthday this way.
Perhaps that could be put into the application for the event.
Okay,
That's a great point.
but any kind of sign, even that type of stuff would be included in this.
Technically.
So make sure on the same page, and we're doing what you're needing for your department, so.
Yes, and I mean, if there's a revision that we need to make on the application, it would certainly be consistent with the ordinance.
I don't think there is a revision to be made. I don't know, Councilmember Jones, if that's correct or not, but I just want to make sure it's doing what you intended to do. And we're also going to align with our other ordinances we already have in place.
This definitely does not impact the other ordinances that we have, because it is very, very much specific to parks. So it doesn't do anything to the other sign ordinances.
Yes, and I think we explained it enough that the ordinances that pertain to other signs throughout the city, we have how many feet, where it can be,
Oh, it's very, yeah.
very
it's
clear, so.
Incredibly
it's-
specific.
yeah,
And it
it's
spells out different
there.
types of signs and sizes, yeah.
So we just need to make sure that we're enforcing that, and if Park is aware of some of those things, they can kind of try to prevent anything that's obviously gonna upset somebody's apple cart.
Is it possible, this does not have anything to do with this ordinance, but since we talked about signs so much, can we get a small, just little overview on what sign ordinance looks like in the city at large?
Sections 27 500 through 27 506.
Yes, and I'm in there and I will continue to research. We had talked about right of ways and things like that too, and I haven't seen that yet in this section, but I will do some more research outside of our meeting on that, but was just curious if we get a quick, make sure that we are kind of aligning with our
I
thoughts.
don't know what we have currently produced, but I talked to staff, so we would do.
Thank you.
To Max's point, if we had, I hate to drag this on, if we had like a postcard that just showed that, your sign can be here or it can look like this, but you can't do this.
It's not gonna fit.
Yeah, and I think the level of detail is gonna be such.
Too
that it
much,
could take-
too much. Okay, never mind.
Any other question for Chris on this?
Move to second reading by title only.
Thank you.
Ridenhour,
Yes.
Osborne.
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
An ordinance amending section 15-3 of the Code of City Ordinances of the City of Warrensburg, Missouri regarding posting signs. This is for adoption or rejection. Ridenhour,
Yes.
Osborne.
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Don't leave yet. Item 8.4, an ordinance amending section 15-4 of the Code of City Ordinances of the City of Warrensburg, Missouri regarding animals. Chris?
This ordinance has to do with care of animals. The ordinance remains really the same, that is existing. No harming, mistreating animals. New addition, it prohibits the feeding of animal periods. For reasons of health to the animals as well as park users regarding potential aggressiveness and health reasons. This is consistent with Missouri conservation in regards to feeding wild animals. This ordinance does allow, though, for fishing and also the annual deer hunt, as approved by the director, and that's an example that is also approved by the park board and comes to city council for final approval. This basically is an ordinance that stays pretty much the same, with the exception of adding the prohibiting feeding animals, so we can post that sign.
Any questions for Chris on this?
Move to second reading by title only.
Thank you.
Ridenhour,
Yes.
Osborne.
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
An ordinance amending section 15-4 of the Code of City Ordinances of the City of Warrensburg, Missouri regarding animals. This is for adoption or rejection. Ridenhour,
Yes.
Osborne.
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chris, we'd like to do this one more time.
Yeah.
An ordinance amending section 15-5 of the Code of City Ordinances of the City of Warrensburg, Missouri regarding swimming. Presented by Chris.
Again, this ordinance has to do with the swimming and is it the same, it's the same that there are no swimming as posted. the proposed amendment allows the Parks and Recreation director or designee to make an exception to this as necessary, but it would be for only safe and effective operations. I can think of one example is on this and regarding cardboard boat races that have been requested with us before out of Lions Lakes from different groups, mostly college groups. But we have used the indoor pool at NASA in these events because of our current. But I've been in other cities that have used lakes and they absolutely love it. So I'm not saying that's something that we would do, depending on the circumstances in regards to liability, insurance guidance and all of that kind of stuff. But this just really keeps it consistent with the director has the opportunity to make this decision. So once again, that's the only change in this particular ordinance, but it remains still swimming. And I'll answer any questions.
Any questions?
No questions.
So nobody should be swimming, wading, or bathing.
Pardon?
No one should be swimming, wading, or bathing in any pond or pool or stream.
All of those,
All of those.
yes.
And just to be clear, that's just on Parks and Rec land. So if they had a pond in their backyard, nobody's stopping anybody from jumping in at Lake Ridge.
Out of
For
my
example.
jurisdiction.
Not in your jurisdiction, okay. Move to second reading by title only.
Ridenhour,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Latari,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
An ordinance amending section 15-5 of the Code of City Ordinances of the City of Warrensburg, Missouri regarding swimming. This is for adoption or rejection. Ridenhour,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Tony, thank you also for
Thank
your
you
work
all.
on this.
Thank you.
Item 9.1, a resolution authorizing the disposal of city-owned property presented by Mike Sprague. Change of
Yeah, I'm gonna try to
presenter here.
present this on behalf of Chief Jennings. If you throw me curveballs, I'm gonna have to ask you to postpone another meeting, but I think it's fairly straightforward as we change out equipment and do routine maintenance, we end up with surplus equipment, things that are kind of run their useful life for us. And the state of Missouri has made provision that we can donate those or sell those to other agencies without any liability. That's a big concern in terms of any assurance that you might be making if you transfer that equipment. So rest assured that there's no liability that goes with it. We have 20 sections of 1 3/4 inch fire hose, 8 fire nozzles, and a utility rope and bag that are surplus for us. The Montrose, Missouri Fire Department's expressed interest in it, and the resolution before you would authorize donating it to the Montrose, Missouri Fire Department.
I move to approve the resolution.
Ridenhour,
Yes.
Osborne.
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Thank you.
Item 10, appearances to the council not listed on the agenda. There's no one wanting to appear? No one? All right. Item 11, miscellaneous matters from the mayor and or city council. Yay. City staff update, city manager.
I don't have a lot, as I think you know, I traveled last week to city manager conference and then got back and then turned around and traveled to Strategic Deterrent Coalition Symposium in Alexandria, Virginia. That was very informative for me. I traveled with 4 other members of the Wayne Area Leadership Council, and that was a nationwide symposium. There were a lot of 4-star and 3-star generals there speaking about the nuclear deterrent and representatives. I can't say with confidence on every base, but it seemed as if there were representatives of every base and installation related to nuclear missiles, airplanes, or submarines. So it gave me a lot of context and nothing top secret, nothing that a civilian like myself couldn't hear, but it gave me a lot more context in terms of the mission and how Whiteman fits it.
Thank you for representing us out there.
Yeah, I'm just happy to go along and learn quite a bit, as much from the other attendees as the presentations. So,
Thank you. Administrative Services Department.
So quick, so the legend came out a couple weeks ago, hope you've all been enjoying that, I love getting different updates in the park, so thank you for the opportunity, Chris. Our popular annual financial report, is on our website, so it's simply kind of a user-friendly summary of the the audit report that you guys all heard at your last meeting. Just wanted to plug that, and then, as the HR person, we had open enrollment last week for all of our employees, those meetings were well attended, it's their chance to learn about the benefits that we offer, so very pleased to answer, yeah, that's it for me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, City Clerk,
Nothing for me tonight.
Community Development, Margaret.
Well, it took me a minute to find this ordinance, so not to belabor the point, but.
Please
The right of way is section 14-I. Other signs on private property 27-500.
Chapter 14 for reference is offenses.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for that information.
I was gonna say side questions should all.
And then just, as you know, we'll have the Memorial Day holiday coming up. And that will delay our service routes for trash collection, recycling, all of our solid waste services by one day. Monday will be picked up on Tuesday on Wednesday, and so forth. We have had a significant increase in the number of people signing up for our texting emailing service since the legend came out. So we have 199 people signed up right now. We'll get a notice about that the day before their trash is.
Nice.
That's
About 24, 36 hour notice on
Yeah.
that, so.
Thanks for doing that. Good.
Yeah, that's great. Quick question about the housing count. Is that something that maybe the city had at some point long ago, and it's just very hard to keep on top of as far as how many actual housing units are within the city limits? Because it seems like that's something that that's not a kind of a known number.
Related to solid waste or related to just?
Really just in general. I mean, the question came to my mind because of solid waste, because the number of households served changes. I know that obviously with new units and units going offline, but do we have like a running tally of how many housing units are in the city?
We don't have an official list. We have, we had the census estimates, and which is what we originally based our solid waste RFP and proposed contract off of. And then we have, probably a fairly accurate list based on your sewer accounts.
Which is actually based off of our water accounts that we
Yeah.
get from Missouri American
Yeah.
Water, who does not make it easy for us to say, this is our number.
Yeah.
We have had this question multiple times and we can't get it clear, this is our number.
And then when you throw in multifamily units and whether they're up and available for rent and.
For sure.
Yeah, I think if this community, and communities that have a very accurate solid number, would be communities that have occupancy permits. And require an annual or every 5-year inspection or something like that for occupancy in all units. Not just, like, we have a certificate of occupancy we issue at the end of the permit. But there are cities that require all residents to have an annual occupancy license.
Gotcha.
And you'd have to have a system like that, I think.
Yeah.
And very, very good compliance and strong enforcement.
Right,
Not
lots of
compliance,
extra staff.
in
yeah.
order to keep a very accurate number.
Oh, thank
The
you.
number is, while you see that number move on our house count, that truly can be a factor of just move in, move out
Right,
season.
yeah.
I mean, that's not. If we saw swings of 1,000, I would really worry. That when we're seeing a swing of 50, it's not.
Yeah.
Real worrisome to staff or to our contract.
Okay, thank you for explaining that. I appreciate it.
That being said, on the housing, would a housing study solve that issue?
it'll do an inventory of housing as you see it from the street, but it still wouldn't necessarily know how many units are in it and how many, they have some access to some census data and they'll look at utility, but they're still gonna kind of be interpolating a number. It won't be a hard fast number.
So the census is kind of the best number to go off of.
Yeah, but it's a little dated and it's accuracy is question two. Yeah.
Understood. Thank you.
Fire department? Mike, how you doing?
No.
All right.
Yeah.
Again, Parks Department? Parks Department?
Yeah.
Oh, we've seen enough of it.
I'm gonna make it real quick. First of all, our last couple of ribbon cuttings, community center and also out at Hawthorne Park for 21st Century. Thank you for all those who attend. Very nice to have those events. This coming Thursday, at noon, ribbon cutting at the Marion Hancock Tennis Courts. Renovation and also 6 new pickleball courts donated by the Blaine Whitworth Foundation. Then the following Thursday will be the ribbon cutting for the Lions Lake project on Thursday at 12 noon on the 21st. Also, a special appointed committee was set up by the park board to review various policies and programs offerings that came up with a couple of items and things that were approved by the park board. One is there's going to be higher education for the fact all seniors that have Medicaid and Medicare to let them know they qualify for silver speakers or renew active. And some know this, but not all. So we're going to really make an effort to do that. This will help with those in financial need. So those insurance companies pay for those. The other also is a show of gratitude, our Warrensburg area seniors, for all that they contribute to the community and as community membership promotion, actually. The park board has approved for each Thursday to be declared senior day at the community center. And the facility is going to be free of use. They can use any area in the community center. This is a pilot program that's going to start May 21st. Pilot meaning it's not forever, but it will continue until further notice. The idea is that the seniors enjoy coming and walking the track of that particular day. Also, there's a certain Thursday that's fried chicken day that's very popular, ought to be pretty filled. And hopefully one spouse will hit the other one and say, we need to join all the time. And so they're not coming one time. Therefore, we expand our membership. That's our selfish side, but the giving side is what the park board wanted to do. Park board included, they would like to have a new position in our programming. My first words, if we can afford it. And that would be a programmer that would be working closer with senior programming, the differently abled and community special events specific at the community center. So that idea is in works. And the last update I want to give is at Lions Lake. We have had an issue with the fountain at the lake, and it needs a part that's on back order. Right now, it's running, and but as soon as that burns out, the fountain's got to stop. So I hope that a piece of equipment comes in quickly. It's like a fuse. We're looking at possibly replacing that fountain at some point in the near future. But right now, I just want you to know if it goes out, we're doing the best we can to have that come in. Also, you may have noticed already that the plant life and algae is already starting to blossom. I mean, quickly. It's earlier than I have seen it. I called and talked to Missouri Conservation and also Blue Valley Laboratories, who we work with. They let me know that it's this way across Missouri and other areas. Very cool season, a lot of heavy rain. Now comes the sunshine and comes the bloom. We also have a double whammy from that. Dredging actually provides very fertile soil for rapid growing plant life. So you see it out there quickly. Friday, when I was out there, it was like, oh, this looks so beautiful. Monday morning early, I drove, I said, oh my gosh. And so it goes very quickly. It's coming in very fast. As a solution, working with both Missouri Conservation and Laboratories of an approved process, we've done copper sulfate before, and that is approved. There's also a product called Gallium SC, and this goes directly to the areas where the algae grows. And both Missouri Conservation and of course this company, the laboratories, it is safe for the fish and wildlife. So we're gonna try to, I've asked for those applications to be made as soon as possible. We've done it for the last few years. We've usually done it in June and July, but now this has come quicker than it ever has. But I just want you to know that we're on it as quickly as we can to try to keep that so it doesn't stop kids from fishing. So I'll answer any questions you may have on that.
Any timeline on stocking the lake?
Oh, yes, yes and no. Yes, I call it Missouri Conservation Weekly, and they're telling me you're on the schedule, you're on the schedule. They, of course, are going around to all these different lakes. Because the process, the time and the rain and different things that stop them, they can't tell me the exact time, but we are on their schedule. I put in a very early request. As in right as soon as we started draining the lake last year. And so hopefully it'll be coming soon. I will tell you that there are fish there, with the overflow from Pirtle. I've seen little fish in there and I saw one jumping. So, but stocking it's gonna be much better, but it's coming soon and I will definitely inform everyone as soon as that truck comes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks. Public Works Department.
No, please.
Oh,
Police,
step back
go in
down.
order.
Evening, council, just wanted to address, let you know, all the rain that we had, windows still sealed up in the stairway, so I thank you. Now, the door, the latch downstairs, we're working on that, the door kind of lets a little water in, but that's, we're working on that, so. Anyway, pretty pleased on them windows. So then, just so you're aware, we've deployed, the new speed trailer out, it's up in Cahill right now. We were looking at getting rid of the old one, but once we actually got it working, while we were ordering the new one, we've deployed it out as well. It's down off of, old Ridgeview Drive, in the school area, where the hitch cross down there. So right now we have two of them. We'll monitor the older one because we've had a lot of issues with it over the years, but it's working pretty decent now. The new UTV, the side by side that we ordered, officers made an arrest out of it last night. They were actually training on it, figuring out how to operate it, pulled out of the PD, and they end up taking a guy who's been identified with some pretty hard criminals and got a gun off street with it. So
Wow.
he seemed surprised that we were in something like that. He took off running from them. So pleased on that. And vehicles are getting ready to start being delivered. The command staff vehicles. Can't thank you enough for that on the vehicle deal with the city manager and your guys' support. We've had having vehicles drop like flies with motors starting to go out. Decommissioned another one this week because another motor issue. So that was much needed. Appreciate that. Also appreciate the support on the rifles. They're supposed to be being delivered this week as well. Can't thank you all enough for all the equipment that we're able to put in place. And the solar, I believe, is almost completed. The bill's complete and the wiring's done, but they got
It's all connected, but we're waiting on Evergy to give us the PTO permission to operate, which they say takes about 30 days. So.
We've had a lot going on.
Yep.
So,
Yes.
anyway, thank you.
Quick question, Chief, I'm sorry. Blue Shield grants,
Yes.
any updates on that?
So, the Blue Shield grant last year was what bought us side by side. We put in for the Blue Shield grant. This year, we don't know what the money is gonna be allocated for. We don't know how much they're gonna allocate or any of that stuff yet. So
Do you recall when we learned last year? Was that late summer?
it's usually around, I think, June,
Okay,
like late June, July time, because we were looking at the flock and then had to really put our heads together to figure out what we're gonna spend that on. So it's very specific of what you can actually spend the money on.
Okay.
So, anyway.
thanks.
The, has any of the units, your vehicles been equipped with the electronic tickets?
Oh, so we're having them built right now. The vehicles are down at LE Upfitters, and when they are being delivered, the command's gonna be having them delivered first. But the patrol units, we're having a few of the newer ones, having the ones that we're keeping down in Clinton, they're putting new consoles in to support the ticket riders. So we're working on it. It just takes a lot of time.
Good.
Questions?
Now, but I say, keep our former police chief, Gene Burton, is
Yes.
having some real health issues
He's back to Warrensburg,
at Country Club.
Yes.
Yep.
So didn't really want to go into a lot of specifics last time, but keep him in your prayers.
Yep.
So, thank you.
Thanks, chief. Public Works, Bill?
As Chief mentioned, the solar, so all three solars are completed up to the point that we're waiting on Evergy to give us permission to operate. So takes about 30 days for that. I'm not sure what happens in that time, but we'll wait the time and then we'll have the go ahead, hopefully, to connect and get it done. But all three, so thank you guys for getting that done. It's 90% there. The plant expansion is going quite well. Nothing major is going on. They're installing the SBR and they're working on the reed beds. So going well. Street department's out doing some stormwater drain improvements. So you'll see them throughout. And then on Wednesday, they plan on being on McGuire to repair those areas that people are not happy about. I have had to comment on some forums that, you know, this is just a temporary fix. It is planned on being rebuilt. So had lots of issues with that. The sidewalk program opened last Friday, and we're happy with the number that's coming in there. So we'll be presenting that to you probably next council meeting. And so that you can okay us using the contractor that was a little bit.
The sidewalk program is, tell me what that is.
So our sidewalk program is when we were doing zone 1, 2, 3.
Yes,
That's our sidewalk program.
Okay.
What we're doing with the curb and ADA, which is where we did railroad, we did market and stuff like that. Again, it's all concrete work. But this year, the sidewalk program, we're touching areas where we've had some major upheavals in a lot of our sidewalks. So we're not going to concentrate so much on the zone. It's going to be hitting some major needed. So
okay.
You might touch on Main Street.
Main Street, we had a sinkhole appear there
Oh.
at between Lynn and
Jones.
Jones, thank you.
Yeah.
In the Jones just west of the Jones Clark is what I was thinking for. But we had a major sinkhole. We got down and inspected it. We got down in the culvert. The floor of the culvert pretty much washed out and allowed the area around the culvert to be, you know, so we've got some good size sinkholes possible. We're contacting the engineering firm, contacted the, you know, person who could do the work. It's coming back a little high, so we're going to be doing our due diligence to see if we go ahead and just repair it, or if we go ahead and rip it out and make it much better.
So you might have to actually be putting in maybe a bridge.
Not a bridge, it'll still go back to a culvert type issue, but since Maine is so narrow, it might give us the opportunity to go ahead and prepare for a widening of that area in the future. You know, so we go back and we build it up the proper way and then possibly widen the street after that portion.
We're still working on numbers and kind of ultimate solution, but don't want to be short-sighted and just do a cheap, quick fix and then regret it later.
Right.
Kind of collect our thoughts.
So that is in the process. Collections crew, the van is being picked up this week to have the camera installed. They're looking at return towards the end of June, hopefully. So it's moving along well. Lots of other projects throughout the city that project managers are working on.
I have a quick question about the McGuire patch.
Mhm.
When all of that, I mean, because we think the sinking is happening because so much earth was moved around to take all of the utilities out and move them and all of that. So I'm wondering, why didn't the engineers plan for that sinking and build something that wouldn't have sunk as much as it did? And I'm not asking you to, make excuses, but I'm very curious why.
Also, I don't know how well it was tested when it was going back in that area. So everything south of North Street and everything basically a little bit north of Emerson was up to compaction rating. I don't know if they skipped that area or not.
Well,
I think we thought the timing would be a little bit better.
Right. I can say the designer and the contractor were very deliberate in saying, we're not building back this base.
Sure.
Yeah.
As is, and it was.
Yeah,
It started out hoping that one project could flow into another and.
okay, so it was,
More time away there. They
Little bit.
did go ahead and put asphalt down to make a smooth surface. And it was kind of the hope that everything would hold together and be on to the next project before it was noticeably failing. And
Okay.
the timing just.
so I knew they obviously didn't rebuild it the way, I mean, on purpose, for sure, but I thought, but it was because the timing just took longer than
Yeah.
they were hoping it was gonna hold up longer.
When is the,
So we're still working through paperwork with the state. Joe had a question, or the state contacted Joe last week, and Joe provided those requested information to the state last week, and we're waiting to hear back from the state whether, where we're at in the process. So we're working with one engineer in the state to get this done, and seems like he has questions. We respond that next day, and then it takes a week to get back to us, so. Slow process.
so it very likely could be fall?
No, we're still looking to hopefully get the request for proposal out. Within the next month, and then after that, it's gonna be 30 days, then it's gonna be almost 30 days to get all that, and the contractor will have to figure out when he's got time. So it could be August, it could be September. I'm hoping August, but
It's a process. First we gotta get the state approval, then we have to solicit the bids, and then we are account for mercy contractor's schedule. As well as material supplies.
And we don't know whether or not that's gonna be capital coming back?
We'll put it out for bid, so see who we get for respondents. I think Capital's interested.
and Capital's very
They're
interested.
very aware of it and
Yeah.
familiar with it.
So we've had some other bigger contractors reach out, and they're aware of it too. They're interested.
Not to keep the meeting going, but I do have two questions if I may. Going back to the Main Street project, do we have funds set aside for failing infrastructure like that, or is that unbudgeted expense?
Yeah, we have a reserve balance that we draw upon, but we don't have a budgeted line item for something that large.
Okay.
So part of that 25-year plan is to anticipate kind of a recurring street maintenance. I don't know, we would have. Well, we might have anticipated that, but one thing that we really need to add are bridges and box culverts. And we've been working on identifying those and try to come up with some cost estimates.
Second question would be mill and overlay project. I know we were holding off due to oil prices. Those have kind of flattened out a little bit, but still kind of high. Are we gonna continue waiting, or what are you thinking on this?
We reached out to Advanced Asphalt and said that we were sort of pushing off until we got some projects done, so that whenever they come in, it's just a straight shot for them, mainly railroad, Market, and some areas like that. So we got those projects down now, and we said, okay, at the end of the school season, it's gonna be better for you guys to come in. They came back with the price compared to the, asphalt price index. They went up from, I think it was 83, don't quote me on this, somewhere around $83 last year, and it's only $87 this year. So not as bad. We'll still probably have to cut back on some area. But Dave's McCannon's looking at that, and we're going to go as soon as school's basically out.
So that'll just be all summer. We'd be seeing most of that.
Well, I mean, they're fast. I bet you it's gonna be 2 weeks. They'll be in and out.
Nice.
But we're gonna be watching them and making sure they're doing a job that we approve of this year.
Yes, and follow up on that. I was driving down Hawthorne and
Yeah.
quite
That is
bumpy.
one of those that they're going to come back in, they're going to do what they stated in the letter, which was first let it warm up, roll it, see if the roller will help. If that doesn't work, was that the number one option?
Yeah.
That was number one option. Then the second option was something, and then the third, they'll just replace it if it. In those two options, it doesn't work.
So that'll all be happening here next month or so.
Yeah.
Okay. Good deal.
Time frame. So we get busy.
I like it. Thank you.
Good question.
Thanks, Phil.
Come on up, Martin.
I'm in the batter's box.
Marcy, Warrensburg Visitors Bureau.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I just really quickly want to announce tomorrow at 10 o'clock, the Summer of Soccer Committee will be hosting a business preparedness meeting. It is for local businesses. We are providing an opportunity to attend in person or by Zoom. You can find the information for the meeting in the Zoom link. If you go to visitwarrensburg.com, it's on our calendar. You can also find the box. We have a little fancy little box now with Summer of Soccer. If you click on that, you can find the information about the business meeting on that. We will be discussing just a little bit about the event overview, about what's happening right down the road. We'll be talking about the local initiative, which is Summer of Soccer. We'll be doing like a little checklist, things to think about. What an international visitor might expect, their experience, and just a visitor in general. We know that we've mentioned it several times, the what ifs with the domestic traveler coming through. And again, I have to give a shout out to our tourism industry partners that make it happen year round. And last summer we were completely booked. I have no doubt this summer we will be completely booked. What's happening right down the road. But we're going to make it a great summer. Absolutely no doubt. We're going to be talking about operational things to think about, staffing and inventory, and marketing. Just today, I had two conversations with two different individuals about the importance of thinking through the intellectual property with FIFA and World Cup, and how we just can't use what we want to use. And so we're going to talk about that and being very conscious of those, and then the business resources that are available for them. There are a lot of different resources that Visit KC and Score KC have put forth, international visitor profile studies, their game plan that explains all about the intellectual property, what can and cannot be used. So there's a lot of great resources that are available. We have a lot of great local resources available. We have an incredible chamber, incredible Main Street, Johnson County Economic Development. So we're going to be doing shout outs for them as well. So tomorrow we'll be providing all that information. It will be recorded and we will be making that link available following. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Going once?
Pick a pen, any pen.